Well, to the Criterion Connection, I'm Wade.
And I'm Scott.
And we're here to do, well, I don't know if this is your first time doing it on this show. I don't know if this is the first Kurosawa film you've watched.
This is the first Kurosawa movie I ever finished. I tried watching Seven Samurai once, but I was just not in the mood for it at the time. And then, of course, that's when the whole Criterion Channel thing happened. So it was off Hulu, and I didn't get to finish it.
Yeah.
So this is the first one I've ever completed.
Now it's on HBO Max. We watched Akira Kurosawa's 1958 film, or 59, it matters on where you look, but it's 58.
I see a lot of 58, so I think you were right the first time.
Some say it's 59.
Yeah, well, those people are wrong.
Hidden Fortress.
Hidden Fortress. And I only want to say that because I find the American title a little misleading. Because the American title makes you think, oh, this Hidden Fortress, this is going to be a big deal. Whereas the Japanese title, which is, and I have to check my notes here because I don't want to do the Japanese wrong, Kakushi Toride no San Akunen, that translates to the three villains of the Hidden Fortress, which doesn't imply that the Hidden Fortress is all that important, just says where they come from.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry, American people. Get better with naming your titles. Don't make me think that Hidden Fortress was going to be the main thing, because it wasn't. Not that I'm all about a fortress, I'm just saying.
I mean, it stars the usual... I like to say that Mifune is the Kurt Russell to Akira Kurosawa's John Carpenter.
I was going to say he was more like the Jason Mewes or the Jason Lee or even the Ben Affleck of Kurosawa's Kevin Smith.
Yeah, I mean...
For the layman's out there.
Basically...
He's like the guy you know what? Let's go with Jay because you're gonna get Jason Mewes in a Kevin Smith movie.
I know Mifune, he's always given the best performance of the entire movie. I mean, there's other people in the movie that really rival him.
But how could he not? I mean, you look at the guy, you look at Mifune, and you're just like...
He's got it.
He's got it. He doesn't have to say a word. He could have a completely silent role, and he's great because he's got the face for it. He's got the body language for it. I know it involves taking direction, but he just seems like one of those guys, especially in this movie, where he just seems to just know the right thing at the right time, and it's just those little like touches that I think only someone like he you can't be taught. You know what I mean?
Like there's a moment where the peasants, the homeless guys,
you mean was it Tahe and Madashichi?
Yeah, you're gonna be doing the Japanese names because if you watch this show, you know I'm gonna butcher it.
He is gonna butcher them, like Abdullah the Butcher.
Anyway, so when they're giving him they're drawing the map, which I think is a really good storytelling thing. They just draw the map. They're explaining to him how we're gonna go through Yamana to get to their goal.
Right.
And he's just super serious, and then you see him very on a dime switch to laughing.
And what an infectious laugh.
And it works.
That laugh could mend the blackest soul, the most broken heart.
So basically the movie is about him, Makabe, General Makabe. He gets these two peasants or homeless people, greedy people.
Well, they're more or less war survivors.
Yeah.
I mean, at the beginning of the movie, you find out. And by the way, I appreciate the kind of I don't want to call it a fake out because if you don't know what you're getting into, you think these are going to be your heroes. These are the guys. Now
they're not heroes.
Now, if you look at any poster for this movie or the cover for it, you know Mifune is the main guy.
Or sometimes the princess is on the cover. So.
I haven't seen that, but I do. I'll believe you.
She's on the cover sometimes.
Yeah, because they talk about how they're coming off the war, they just want to go home. Whether or not they fought, I doubt they fought. They probably cowered somewhere and just waited to see who was going to win. That's the vibe I get from them. But so it's basically their journey to find Makabe unintentionally. They don't know they're trying to find it, but for us, for the audience, they're more or less on their way to him. And then once they meet him, that's when our story really starts kicking in.
And the pacing is almost 2.5 hours, but the pacing flies by a little bit.
Right, I agree.
And also how it's very well structured. Basically, Makabe gets them to sneak the princess unknowingly to them, the princess of this dying clan. Right. That's being destroyed by the Yamano. The evil empire, we're going to get into how this is very inspired by another. This inspires another movie. Basically, they're going to go do the plan to go through Yamano and then go into where they want to be.
Right. And the princess played by Misa Uehara.
Yeah, she is also great now.
Oh, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
You talk about the archetype for your strong female character. I mean, she's it. And the thing that I like about her is that, like, she's not emotionless. She's not. I always feel like, at least in America and modern times, it seems like if you want a tough woman, she has to be like emotionless, and she has to be a bitch. I hate to use that terminology, and I don't want to come off sexist. I sincerely apologize if I do, but that's the vibe I get when I see like that portrayal in American film today. But like you see her there, she's tough, and she can take care of herself, but she's also kind, and she has a good heart, and she has
kind of like. You say American cinema, like strong heroines, like kind of like Ripley.
From Alien. That's a great example.
Like, she's tough and she's no nonsense, but she does have a heart.
Right,
especially in Aliens, she has a heart.
Right, because in the first movie she cares about the cat. In the second movie she cares about
Newt. Newt, So that you see that, and exactly at the hour mark they start the journey. Exactly at the hour mark, but that's so well timed on how they can pace it to that.
Right, and I think that's one of those things in like older movies I think is lost on a lot of people these days, is because back in the day you didn't get a lot of sequels. What is a prequel back then? No one heard of a prequel back then. If you did a movie like this, they were probably as long as they were, because you have to establish who you're following and who, like, what we're doing. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, oh, we're doing this, deal with it. Yeah. Like some people do nowadays. It's like, you kind of have your first movie and your sequel, in a sense, in one movie here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They basically, before we go into like how like it's very inspires another movie. To sum it up, it has humor, adventure, action, tension. Has it all.
I was very surprised how funny it was. Yeah. I was having a good time. I was watching it with my wife, and even she liked it. And she's not one for like, she likes older movies, but like she's not very familiar with like older like foreign movies. So like to see her like be involved and get it and watch it and not be turned off by like, maybe cultural differences or just things that maybe don't often translate to an American audience, I think just shows how good this movie is. That anybody can pick this up and watch it and get something out of it.
And also what's great about it is it's what Kurosawa does. He does good with motion with camera, but also he knows scale.
Yes.
Like the scene where, like, in the beginning where the rebels, they basically turn on the Empire, and they're running down the stairs.
Oh, and there's all those people.
Yes.
That blew me away.
That scale, and that set. Like, they might not even be a set. It might actually be somewhere from like some like Japanese, some Japanese like historical area. But like it feels like giant, but also feels contained at the same time.
And the thing that was great about it, and what I really marveled at, was the fact that you look at movies nowadays that have like a bunch of characters like that, and obviously it's CGI. And when I say obviously, I don't just mean it. You can tell.
Yeah.
Like, you just see all these like huge battlefields, but you see that many people on screen at one time, and they're really there, and it's just when shot well like it was. I mean, it was
Kurosawa.
incredible.
He's a master of his craft.
Incredible.
Yeah. So obviously, this film is inspires another film. It's famously known to be a big inspiration for Star Wars,
the original,
A New Hope, and you could see it.
You really can, and it's kind of interesting that Kurosawa has two of those kinds of movies, because you got Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to see like how important somebody is. That let's think, if it wasn't for Kurosawa, if it wasn't for this movie, not just him, but this movie, we don't have Star Wars, we don't get Empire, Return of the Jedi, we don't get the trilogy, we don't get the sequel,
we don't get Jar Jar Binks
trilogy, we don't get the sequel trilogy, we don't get the franchise, we don't get the Disney buyout, we don't get the Mandalorian, we don't get any of this stuff if it wasn't for this movie. And that is really something to appreciate and behold.
And there's gonna be slight spoilers in this part, so before we go into the spoilers, would you recommend the film?
Oh, absolutely. I think this is a great movie that anybody, like I said, anybody could get into. Even if you're not into like foreign films, because I don't really want to read subtitles, and dubbing kind of takes me out of it, which it does for me sometimes too. The dubbing, not so much the subs. I'm good with subs. This is great. And the thing that's great about, for those people who aren't really into subtitles, I think the dialogue is not too fast to where like someone who is not as into it couldn't keep up. I think it's great pace both in the film itself and the dialogue as far as subtitles goes. The story anybody can get into, anybody can understand, and to me I think that's one of the best things about this movie is that anybody could get something out of it.
I agree. I'm also going to recommend it. Before we go into like the spoilers and stuff like that and talk about the Star Wars stuff, we both watched it on HBO Max. It is on Criterion Channel. I'd say it's an HBO Max issue where the subtitles don't have enough stroke around the letters. And the text
It's a black and white movie, but they've made them white. Like why is that? Why is it with subtitles when it's color, everybody wants to make them yellow, and when it's black and white, everyone makes them white? You got to do the color that makes it like the words stand out. If it's color, do white. If it's black and white, do yellow.
Or if it's black and white, have a strong enough stroke around the letters.
Right. Or the black bars behind
Criterion Channel has the stroke slightly higher, and you can see it better. So if you're going to watch on either one, the Criterion Channel, watch it on there, or buy it on DVD or Blu-ray, whatever.
It's not that bad, but it can frustrate.
Yeah. But to the spoilers at this point, with Star Wars, we have the two peasants in the beginning who are the two droids.
I was gonna say there definitely are R2-D2 and C-3PO.
And you could definitely tell, like, I mean, they're already on their own. They're walking on Tatooine. They're walking in the desert.
Right.
The princess that takes no nonsense.
Right.
The old samurai that's because if you notice, everyone else, there's a lot of people that uses a lot of guns are being used.
Yes, that threw me off. I was surprised.
Old gunpowder guns. And he's the only one that, like, we're gonna have a duel, we're gonna do this.
He's traditional. He's like traditional samurai.
He's kind of like your Obi-Wan and a little Luke Skywalker in there.
I would say he's more like a combination of Obi-Wan and Han Solo.
A little bit, but then also there's also the friend that the spear. What's his name? Oh god, I wrote it down. Hold on. Hoye. He's the Yamano general guy.
Right.
He's kind of Han Solo at the end, where he saves Luke from being attacked by Darth Vader when destroying the Death Star.
Well, right, but Makabe is more badass than Luke Skywalker, and Han Solo is more badass than Luke Skywalker.
And also, the duel with the spears is very Obi-Wan versus Vader in the beginning, like kind of old rivals meet together, and they have a slow but tense duel. This one's a little more visually interesting than the Obi-Wan Vader one, but.
Well, they both had different purposes, and there's a different, an altered outcome. In this case, the good guy wins.
Oh, also when they sneak in, which is a great scene when they sneak in, but like he's like, I need a reward and whatever, and everyone's like, we took care of them, and they sit down, and the guy's like, it's them, and they're like, oh crap, that was funny. But that's kind of like when they dress like stormtroopers and they sneak in.
Yeah.
Also, the end where they basically get their medal.
Right.
It's even framed almost exactly.
It is. It really is. And, like, now that you say that, like, that particular scene stands out a little more to me as kind of like the connection between the two.
And the biggest one is the ill-equipped rebels versus the evil empire.
Yeah.
Like, you see, like, Makabe, his character, he's wearing, like, basically garments. He's not wearing armor.
Yeah, he's basically just wearing, like the very most minimal clothing you can wear at that time period with just a sword.
And he's kicking everyone's ass.
Yeah.
And it's not even a big sword. It's a little tiny
sword.
No.
And in fact, if you notice, like, a lot of times he's, like, taking other people's weapons.
Yes.
He's using other people's things against them. Hell, the spear he uses isn't even his. Granted, he doesn't steal it. He's offered it.
Yeah.
But nevertheless. He even steals some horses.
Oh my god, the when he's sword fighting the guy has a spear and he has a sword on the horses.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good. But yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I could probably dig deeper into it to see more Star Wars things.
Yeah.
I will say George Lucas did change it to where it's his own.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
but you
even
can definitely see the inspiration when you watch this movie.
I mean,
it's an homage.
I mean, in all honesty,
Star Wars is an homage.
Just by changing, even if it was the exact same movie, just in an alternate setting, I think he did it. Now, you would do enough to differentiate.
Now, could you imagine if the peasants were R2D2 and C3PO? Well, I don't think it would work because they don't want gold. There's no enticement for them.
That's fair.
Yeah, there's no.
Wasn't their whole thing they just wanted to go home?
No, they had
something.
They had the message for Princess Leia.
Oh yeah,
it's the Death Star. The Death Star.
There you go.
Plans. Okay.
And you know what? Information is a true treasure.
Yeah. So that's our thoughts on Hidden Fortress. Let us know in the comment section below what you think about the film. Also, let us know of any other Kurosawa films that we have not done yet. I know there's like Ron. I know there's a lot of his Japanese noir stuff we have not done, like High and Low. We have not done that. So let us know. Maybe we should start doing one of those. I don't know.
I'm open to it.
Yeah.
So if you want to bring me back for it, I'm happy to do it.
You can do that. So you can follow us on Instagram, Condish Productions. Follow us on there so you can get all the new stuff in case like you're not. I'd say subscribe and also follow us on Instagram so you can see, oh, they have a new episode up on YouTube or on Instagram. And then you go to YouTube and, you know, all that. Like, subscribe, share. The usual thing.
You know what to do. You've been around.
We're so close to episode 200. It's like 190 some episodes. You should already know the plan.
Yeah, we're so close we can almost taste it.
Yeah. So until next time, I'm Wade.
And I'm Scott.
And we will see you later.